I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati, Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
The type of money we throwing in these strip clubs, the type of money we spend on these clothes and jewelry and stuff like that, that money can be useful.
Which is why he took $30,000 and gave it to the homeless. But it was his approach that got some negative attention. People wanting to know, why did he have to throw the money and not hand it to the people?
More people would have been jumping in line. People wouldn't have been grateful for what they would have got. You know what I'm saying? People probably would have wanted more. It would have been more talking, more. I would have been more time wasted. You know what I'm saying? Than me just throwing up in the air, and I could just go from that spot and go to other people's spot, because I don't want to show favoritism to one spot.
The other issue people had was the man laughing in the background.
Wasn't nothing funny about it. You know what I'm saying? It was a moment to smile, but I wouldn't say it was a moment to laugh. You know what I'm saying? But I can't control what another person do.
But what Raylo can control is what he does and who he is. Raylo now lives in a world many of us will never experience, where he says thousands of dollars is tossed on stage to a stripper as part of a game.
It's a competition. Like, whoever throw the most money in the gentleman club that night, they're who's supposed to be the champion of that night.
And one night sitting in the club, Raylo says so much money was on the floor he couldn't see his shoes, which is why he's suggesting a new challenge to his fellow rappers.
I'm challenging every dude in the strip club. Let's not go to the strip club on a Tuesday night. Let's not do Magic City Monday. Let's go do homeless Monday, homeless Tuesday, homeless Wednesday, homeless Thursday, homeless Friday, Saturdays and Sundays also. I want to do that. Man, if I can get a couple rappers together, the homeless people wouldn't be homeless no more.
I asked Raylo if he would do this again, and he said he would, but with even more money, he wants to give back to his community. I also spoke with Hosea Williams, Feed the Hungry, who say this is not the way to go about giving money, and there is a better approach.
Americans part 2, nigga. We standing here with this shit. We standing here with this shit. Then we got 200,000-300,000 cars still in Pakistan, nigga. American gangster. Part 2, fuck, nigga. Sound cool.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Sound cool. Hey, when you can sit out here and throw 30,000 40,000. You ain't gotta worry about your motherfucking partner putting up $9. But we gonna keep doing this shit, nigga. We gonna keep doing it. All day, fuck niggas. Sound cool. American gangster part 2, nigga.
Breaking news, a massive raid on a metro area home. We have a team of reporters questioning authorities about the investigation and what exactly they're looking for. Good Wednesday afternoon. I'm Craig Lucy.
Hello, I'm Wendy Corona. We do begin with breaking news, a raid involving federal agents at an apartment complex. We've seen the FBI and ATF. Channel 2's Matt Johnson just arrived on the scene, and Matt, authorities are not saying much.
There's still some crime scene tape up from this raid that happened today, but not a lot of information from several different law enforcement agencies that are investigating this. We do know that they were focusing on one of the upstairs units here at this apartment complex. Neighbors and law enforcement are both being tight-lipped, but we were here at the scene earlier today. Let's show you some of the video that one of our photographers captured. We were here at around 11:30 this morning when federal agents raided an apartment. It happened on the 1100 block of Lucille Avenue in southwest Atlanta. Authorities from the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the ATF were here to help with the investigation. The exact nature of this investigation is being withheld by all the law enforcement agencies we contacted. They can only say that it's ongoing. But back out here live, we've reached out to at least 4 different law enforcement agencies to try to figure out the nature of this investigation, whether any arrests were made or whether any contraband evidence was seized. We're working to gather more information.
We've learned local rapper Rollo is now facing federal charges after a raid at his Southwest Atlanta apartment. Our cameras were rolling today as agents from the FBI and the ATF searched this apartment building on Lucille Avenue. The rapper, whose real name is Terrell Davis, is being held tonight at the DeKalb County Jail. That's where 11 Alive's Ryan Kruger is with the latest on this investigation.
Yeah, Vinny, authorities have been pretty tight-lipped on Rollo's arrest ever since he was first picked up on Sunday. And even now, it's not clear what kind of charges he's going to be facing. But we did get a chance to speak with some of his friends, and they're telling us tonight that the man they know is no criminal. If you look at Atlanta rapper Rollo's Instagram page, you'll find several videos and pictures of his yellow sports car. And then take a look at this. Agents from the FBI, the ATF, along with APD, all searching through 2 yellow sports cars at this apartment on Lucille Avenue in Southwest Atlanta. Agents aren't giving details about what they were searching for, but we know they confiscated those 2 cars along with things from Rollo's apartment.
For me as a friend, I don't believe it because I don't see him as the kind of person. I see him as a person to help you.
Harun Wakil is good friends with Rollo. Both of them are devout Muslims, and Wakil says Rollo chose to stay in this small apartment instead of a larger house because he wanted to be closer to the people.
He'll give you the shirt off his back. He's helped me out before. If I'm hurting or something, or if I need some food, he'll come help.
You never know where they've been.
In fact, we interviewed Rollo back in 2016 after a viral video showed him giving large amounts of money to homeless. It's not clear what crimes the feds are accusing Rollo of committing.
The people can do whatever they want. They can make up charges, but I just don't see him being that kind of person. He helps people. Like I said, he's a good person. He has a big heart.
And Rollo was first arrested on Sunday here in DeKalb County, charged with conspiracy to commit a felony. Now, the local charges have been dropped. That's because the feds have now taken over the investigation. But again, Benny, not clear what kind of charges he's going to be facing in this case. A whole lot for us to keep on working on. Benny?
All right, thanks so much, Ryan.
An Atlanta rapper accused tonight of leading a gang that was allegedly caught trying to move nearly $2 million worth of pot through Metro Atlanta.
11 Alive's Naima Abdullahi has exclusive reaction now from Rollo's team tonight.
Rollo's team tells me he's being targeted and is sitting in jail wrongfully accused. But a federal criminal complaint lays out how investigators allegedly connected Rollo to the operation. Before we dig any deeper into this, let's tell you who 23-year-old Terrell Davis, a.k.a. Rollo, is, if you're not familiar with Atlanta's hip-hop scene. The artist has a huge social media presence and following, with more than 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and song collaborations with T.I., 2 Chainz, Future, Gucci Mane, and so many others. And now, criminal complaint alleges the rapper, who's called this apartment complex in Atlanta home, a complex just raided yesterday, is the leader of a gang referred to as Famerica, a name Rollo regularly uses to refer to his music team. But according to the complaint, the investigation dates back to December, when investigators stopped 3 vans leaving Fulton County Airport. Inside one, they allegedly found 520 pounds of marijuana worth about $1 million on the street. Rollo wasn't inside the van, but 3 people arrested were allegedly connected to him, according to investigators. And evidence investigators are now using: an old Instagram post from the next day that refers to $1 million lost. Fast forward to this past weekend, a complaint says a K-9 unit met Rollo's plane after it landed at PDK and found just under $1 million worth of marijuana. Rollo and 8 others were arrested. Tonight, his team still strongly believes he's being targeted because of his faith as a Muslim. They also discredited the Instagram post as evidence, calling it just entertainment. They also point out Rollo owns the complex that was raided and lets people stay rent-free as a way to give back to the community. Naima Abdullahi, 11
Undenied
Alive
for an Atlanta
News.
rapper accused of trying to move almost $2 million worth of marijuana through Metro Atlanta.
The judge says he needs some clarification about whether a previous probation was dismissed before he can consider bond for Terrell Davis, known as Rollo. 11 Alive's Naima Abdullahi was in federal court today for this hearing. Naima?
Right, and Cheryl, before we start, let me just say I just got an exclusive statement from rapper Rollo's record label, and the statement says, quote, Rollo will maintain his plea of not guilty to today's charges. It goes on to say, we hope that he will soon be released to complete his current show schedule, which is scheduled out for the rest of the year. Now, despite the fact that Rollo's bond was denied because of the Fulton County situation and confusion, there were 4 other suspects in the courtroom, and here's a breakdown of everything that happened. A suspect by the name of William Rhodes was granted a $75,000 bond with the following conditions: make no contact with the rapper Rollo and don't associate with anyone convicted of a felony. Suspect Kevin Harp could possibly get bond soon. The judge just wants to hear from a relative who his attorney says he could live with and help him get a job. Suspect Brenton Mitchell was denied bond because of an active warrant in Douglas County. Today's decision to not give Rollo bond stems from a Fulton County probation that allegedly has been suspended or dismissed. A crowd of supporters outside the courthouse today holding up signs for rapper Rollo. The courtroom too packed to hold all of them. Now, cameras were not allowed in the courtroom, but Rollo, whose real name is Terrell Davis, appeared calm in his orange jumpsuit, talking back and forth with his attorney while they waited for the judge to make a decision. And supporters outside described the rapper as someone who deeply cares about his community and that he bought the apartment complex that was raided by federal agents as a way to help people in the community live there rent-free, and that he's not associated with a gang.
We're talking about somebody who actually feeding the community. We're not talking about somebody who out here robbing, killing people.
Fam America is a record label, you know what I'm saying? Despite how they might depict it on TV, you know what I'm saying? Every time people of color get together, it's not a game. Like, we out here doing real business. We got real published works out there, you know, albums. We touring, doing real legitimate business. You know, so that's the facts.
And of course, this case is far from being over. We'll see what the judge's decision is after he gets clarification about the possible active probation in Fulton County. Reporting outside of the federal courthouse, Naima Abdullahi, 11 Alive News.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Papa Mob Ties. We on our way to Georgia with it. Atlanta, the Bluff. All my niggas from the A. Y'all niggas stand up. Y'all niggas get in the comment box. Let it be known. Real GGG shit. Now, the nigga that we gonna cover today is gonna be a guy by the name of Terrell Davis. But everybody know him by the name of Rollo. Fam Goon, Fam America Rollo. Now, a little bit about Rollo. He gonna be an independent or pretty much a rapper on the come up in Atlanta. Been around for a minute in the grind, especially with the music for some years. So anything that he got on the music, he pretty much deserved because he been working at that. Recently signed to Gucci Mane, so a lot of more people probably became aware of him. Some run-ins he had, I want to say with Black Youngster, Moneybag Yo, several other people or words exchanged, but none of that is what made him on Mob Ties. He probably, a lot of people say he could have been on Mob Ties before the unfoldings of the past weeks, because it's pretty much fresh. First time, really, I want to say I heard about Rollo was on a Future song. I can't remember which one, but Future was pretty much saying he had the dog food like Rollo. Rollo had an interview. I guess I just seen the shit, but Rollo had an interview with Officer Vlad, where he was disclosing that he made $12 million selling heroin. He left the game with $3 million. A lot of people from Atlanta might know a little complex that he owned that they call Pakistan. Well, turns out the authorities are trying to charge Rollo with running a gang. Pretty much, running a gang, conspiracy to commit felonies. And they're going to say that they was trailing him since December of 2017 when they stopped a van with estimated $1 million worth of marijuana in it with some guys that was tied to Rollo. Rollo went on Instagram several times, like showing himself going through like customs, getting searched by police. He even went on Instagram and wanted to post saying he'd never fly with drugs. So some people are saying that was just to throw the officers off. Some people saying maybe he might not know nothing about nothing. But that's me or you or not the federal judge in the case. We seen that his bail was denied. I had to get him up to here. Really pretty much to see what y'all think. What y'all niggas get in the comment box. Let it be known. Real G shit, if you know anything about the story, if you know anything about anything, y'all niggas get in the comment box. Yeah, let it be known. Make sure y'all hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. Y'all follow me on Instagram, Twitter. It's your boy Popalot, POP_A_LOT. Y'all get at me, let me know if whatever. I'm out here. So y'all stay tuned for some more real G shit. It's your boy Pop. Mob ties.
Atlanta rapper Rollo is facing federal charges after his apartment was raided by multiple agencies on Wednesday. Rollo, whose legal given name is Terrell Davis, is facing 2 federal counts of possessing with intent to distribute marijuana. Along with Rollo, a federal affidavit also stated William Rhodes, Brenton Mitchell, Antoine Morrison, Quintavis Scott, Bilal Muhammad, Michael Honeycutt, Christian Harp, and Shankwood Potts knowingly and intentionally combined, conspired, confederated, agreed and had understanding with each other to violate the law. The federal affidavit stated that Rollo is the leader of the criminal street gang Famerica as well as being a rapper. It stated that at direction, gang members sell drugs and firearms and engage in other traditional gang activities. According to the complaint, the investigation into the rapper dates back to December 2017, when investigators stopped 3 vans leaving Fulton County Airport. Inside one, investigators said they found 520 pounds of marijuana, worth about $1 million on the street. While Rollo himself wasn't inside the van, the 3 people arrested were allegedly connected to him. The evidence against him, investigators allege, includes an old Instagram post from the day after the drugs were found in which the rapper refers to $1 million lost. And this past weekend, the complaint stated, a K-9 unit met Rollo's plane after it landed at PDK Airport in DeKalb County and found under $1 million worth of pot. Rollo and 8 others were arrested because of it. 11 Alive's Nima Abdullahi spoke exclusively to the rapper's team, who told her they believe the 23-year-old is being targeted, adding the complex rated is owned by He-Rapper, where he lets people stay rent-free. A federal judge is holding off on a final bond decision for an Atlanta-based rapper pending more information in the case. But in the meantime, Hess sitting in jail. Rollo, 23, whose legal name is Terrell Davis, is facing 2 federal counts of possession with intent to distribute marijuana. A federal affidavit also listed several others who, along with Davis, knowingly and intentionally combined, conspired, confederated, agreed and had an understanding with each other to violate the law. So many people were in the courtroom on Tuesday that people had to stand in the hallway to await an update. During court proceedings, prosecutors argued that undercover officers bought drugs and weapons at the apartment complex that Rollo owns several units of. They also outlined the charges for 3 other associates connected to last week's raid, including Kevin K. Harp, William Chaos Rhodes and Brenton O.G. Mitchell. The judge said paperwork showed that Rollo has an active probation in Fulton County and he can't make a decision on whether grant bond or not until he knows, in fact, that probation was suspended. That's actually what his attorneys claimed during the court appearance. The federal affidavit stated that Rollo, in addition to being a rapper, is the leader of the criminal street gang Famerica. It stated that at direction, gang members sell drugs and firearms and engage in other traditional gang activities. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom but a rally for the rapper was held outside across the street from the courthouse. People came out to support the rapper who attorneys in the courtroom described as an accomplished performer who takes care of his family and community. But the state used several of his Instagram posts as evidence against him. His attorneys countered that the posts of large amounts of money and guns were solely used as props for music videos and that a gun found in the home was registered to his mother. It was also brought up in the courtroom that Rollo made a phone call from jail since his arrest, telling someone he did not commit a real crime, that no one was killed and that investigators did not have a real case against him. The state argued that if he received bond, he had the resources to run, but his attorney said that wouldn't happen because he didn't have a passport. Judge Alan Baverman listened to both sides and said that once he gets clarity from Fulton County that Rollo's probation was, in fact, suspended, he'll consider reviewing the possibility of setting a bond for the rapper. Judge Baverman said the paperwork that was in front of him did not reflect that the probation was suspended. Famerica Records released the following statement to 11 Alive. Rollo will maintain his plea of not guilty to today's charges. We ask for continued prayers and appreciate the outpouring of love from everyone, family and friends included. Rollo will continue to work to be the best artist and entertainer and community leader that he is. We hope that he will soon be released to complete his current show schedule and get back to work with compliance to any restrictions implied. 11 Alive spoke to Rollo's friends who are associated with his record label. They said the allegations of gang activity and drug possession are false and they're hoping he gets out soon.
I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. Trap House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit, convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude, strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game, Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes, Craig Pettis in the M-Town, Sal Magluta with the boat game, Falcone with the cocaine, like Freeway Ricky with the plug game, like Monster Cody in South Central, Larry Davis from close range.
Shooting late Saturday night. They are also learning more about that incident and perhaps think it might happen again near here.
10:54 Saturday night, a whole crowd of people on this Ocean Drive sidewalk scrambled for cover.
You want to tend to react first and then ask questions later.
This is the view from surveillance cameras at Fat Tuesdays at 9th and Ocean on South Beach.
I think it's one of the best streets in the world. But the life is crazy, you know?
What you can't see in the video, police say, is a black Infiniti speeding away with the gunman inside.
When something like this happens, people are making each other aware of what's going on.
That's why Miami Beach police put out this safety bulletin. Saturday night's gunshots they say they've discovered were fired by a Brooklyn-based GS9 gang member.
Yes, it's possible. This is Miami.
But police say from what they know about this gunfire outside Fat Tuesdays is that it's not about Miami at all. The notice put out to Miami Beach police officers reads, quote, "The retaliation stems from a murder that occurred in Brooklyn, NYC, about 4 to 5 years ago."
It can always carry over, so you never know if it's done, and that's the biggest thing. That's why it scares people.
According to the police department's notice, quote, "GS9 members are allegedly to be involved in counterfeit currency, credit card fraud, and narcotics sale. The members are known to drive high-end expensive cars. Allegedly, future retaliation is expected.
I think everyone here, especially on South Beach, you have that tourist feel. You're not expecting anything like that, and everyone is so scared and worried.
If there's one shooting here, and they travel around the block and they see the same person, then they might be inclined to shoot again.
Saturday night, it happened outside Fat Tuesdays, but police say there's likely a next time, perhaps somewhere else.
Now, one of the managers at Fat Tuesday said they had a larger than usual crowd on Saturday night because of the Carnival celebrations as well as the 3-day holiday. They said they had a lot of people in town from New York, so they are not anticipating something like this in the future. Still, Miami Beach police are looking for more clues to possibly arrest more people in connection with Saturday night's shooting or stop something before it happens in the future. Live on Miami Beach tonight, Liz Nekedie.
What's your boy Fresh Montana, got your boy, you already know what it is. GS9, you already know, that's murder. My nigga Rowdy, that's your boy, nigga. Alright, see ya. Bow, bow, bow.
That money at the bottom. Yeah, chopping in the bottom. Montana don't stop. Montana don't stop.
See ya, nigga, mama. What's
separate the English from the Dutch this week. Black nobles humanly gain the threes. You like the Genovese. Sass on season these degrees. There's West Germans, Quakers. This motherfucker just spit 8 verses. 8 different rappers verses. Make some noise for Wu-Tang Clan. I let them niggas, they here. Word. So yo, check it out, y'all. Real rap. We got a new Brooklyn night coming up. New nigga, he on his A game heavy. I want y'all to show him love when he touch the stage. Ain't got a special dance. You know what I'm saying? If y'all know this nigga dance, he got an ill dance out. That's what I'm talking about. Make the nigga shake. Where my nigga Bobby Smurd at, man? Yeah.
We take it till I pass out. I swear to God, all I do is cash out. And if you in the home, get up on my tripod. I've been selling faces like I'm really never made no difference when this shit made. Just I told me flip the facts on how to maintain. I get that money back and spend it on the same thing. Now shorty like the way that I pull out. And I be getting money tough full out. You talk cash, dog goes all out. And shorty like the way that I floss out. Let all of my dogs out. Mama said no pussy cats inside my dog house. That's what got my daddy like to put the dog out. So come on up, let all of my dogs out. We gon' pull up in that hoopty like we cops on them. We the 16s, we gon' put some shots on them. I send a little dot, send a drop for them. That shit she told me up and I'm sipping hot on them. Grammy Savage, that's who we are. Grammy shoes dressed in G-Star.
Get me, by the way. You forget me. Oh, you know that. Fucking swell off, because I can't look at you. Man, there's no selling on nothing. Do it. Can't look at this nigga that way. Niggas got this nigga looking sexy. Hey, when I put on my shirt right back, look like Riley. That's got me looking like colorful. What is Bobby Valentino? I'm a trancer. I'm a dog. Bah. ASAP. Squad. Just like me. Feeling like we made it. Feeling like we made it, nigga. Feeling like we made it. Oh shit, we made it, nigga. Why the fuck they hate, nigga? Congratulated, nigga.
All this money in my pocket, cause I'm lit. All this money in my pocket, cause I'm lit. I put my money there, you see it on my dick. I put my money there, you see it on my dick. Oh, them boys right there, I'm a slide out. Oh, them boys right there, I'm a all this money in my pocket, cause I'm lit. Cause I'm lit, don't start to the way I want to shit. All my niggas just like a boy sick. And my heart is on my eyes with the shit. Let me tell you who's now with the shit. This year, mother stomachs been ride ever since. I'm too young to tell me why with a gun. I'm too young to tell me die with my gun. That's a
that hoe out of here? You got out of here? Is she coming down? She left already? Huh? She with you? Alright, let's go.
Rowdy baby. Squat, squat. Just lean up, lean up. Just lean up. Rowdy baby. The 100 minutes. Go crazy for pussy, they're trying to plan it. So I ride on them niggas with 3A's. And I even put a shot in the lid.
I'ma blow up drinking this my heart. What?
This money ain't a problem. This money ain't a problem. Catch it. Catch it.
I'll be just like this on your bitch. Yeah. FaceTime me just like this on your bitch. What is that to her? Baby days, murder, dance on that pussy home.
This money ain't a
Yeah, we got your boy Pablo headed back to Brooklyn with it. Flatbush. All my niggas from the Bush, Brooklyn, Killville, y'all niggas get in the comment box, let it be known. Real fucking G's. And we about to cover some young niggas everybody know about. They damn sure belong on this list. If you familiar with any of the exploits that they done did, and we gonna be talking about GS9 gangsters, Bobby Smurder, Rowdy Rebel, the most famous member. A little bit about them niggas. They was on some wild shit. Bobby Smurder he's currently in jail. I think he pleaded to like, I say what was it, 7 or 9 years? You already know that, the details of that. He took a deal only if his homeboy Rowdy could get the same amount of time that he got. And I think that was the situation with that, but there was a lot of other niggas involved with that shit. If anybody familiar with the verse on Hot Nigga or the rise of Bobby Smurder, a little bit about that a few years back. Don't quote me, I want to say maybe 2013, could be 12 or 14, but right around that time, he was an up-and-coming artist in the city. I want to say what blew him up, because I follow the music, what blew him up from what I seen was Beyonce did his dance at a show at a park that they had, and then before you know it, the next day, he was the next best thing. These niggas was wild. This is some shit I've been heard, but upon my research, or I've been seeing, them niggas was headed to a show. This is gonna be Rowdy and a few other niggas from the GS9 indictment that are mentioned was headed to a show. I want to say they, like, Jay-Z was performing, some Big Dogs was performing or some shit like that. Them niggas spotted a rival on the way to the show and popped down on the rival. They said Rowdy performed in the same clothes that he had on from the shooting. Police found the gun at a hotel registered to him, I want to say a month later. Ballistics tests determined that it was the gun. They didn't hit the rival. I think they shattered their glass, but police was like following these niggas. It's like, from what I was looking at it, it's like the police kind of let a lot of shit go on as they was following them. I remember I seen some shit where they said they shot into like a bodega on Clarkson. I grew up on Clarkson, on the 100 block of Clarkson. Them niggas is from the, I want to say the other side of Flatbush, because they were beefing with like some niggas BMW that I remember being mentioned that I was growing up. I think, and niggas from Brooklyn and Flatbush know, or niggas from Brooklyn period know. I want to say that's like the 90s. Where I was from, we used to call that like the 90s. But I was from Clarkson, between Bedford and Rogers, and that's down from, that's a little down the ways from where they was at. But they was wild on some other shit when I was younger. It was a group called Haitian Mafia that was wild out there, and them niggas was no joke. I'm sure they still putting it down to this day. Listening to the lyrics, sound like GS9 niggas talking about the same fucking niggas. Still putting it in, getting it in. But I ain't gonna give up the whole story. It's your boy Popular. We gonna get into it. Motherfucking mob ties.
The 13 individuals listed below were arrested in New York City yesterday as a result of a long-term investigation into GS9 gang activity, including multiple shootings and narcotics trafficking, and are scheduled to be arraigned on an indictment this morning. The investigation was spearheaded by the NYPD's Brooklyn South Violence Reduction Task Force and the Office of the Special Narcotics Prosecutors Gang Unit, with assistance from the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. Aquil Pollard, also known as Bobby Shmurda Chad Marshall, also known as Rowdy Rebel Santino Boderick, also known as Kuno Rashid Derisant, also known as Rasha, also known as Jordan 23 Alex Crandon, also known as A-Rob Brian Harvey, also known as Mishi Nicholas McCoy, also known as Montana Flea, also known as Monty Javes Pollard, also known as Fame Deshane Cockett, also known as D-Boy, also known as Larry Bird, also known as Mitch Ramey Marshall, also known as Fetty Devin Rodney, also known as Slice Delroy Edwards, also known as DeRose Clevin Pearson, also known as Dredd. Bridget G. Brennan, New York City Special Narcotics Prosecutor, New York City Police Commissioner William J. Bratton and Brooklyn District Attorney Kenneth P. Thompson announced today the arrest and indictment of 15 members of GS9, also known as G-Stone Crips, a street gang based in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. As charged in the indictment, members of GS9 engaged in violent disputes with rival gangs, committed murder and carried out numerous non-fatal shootings. GS9 members are also charged in multiple instances of gunfire in public locations in which no one was shot in both New York City and Miami. 12 indicted defendants are charged with narcotics trafficking and using the proceeds to further the criminal activities of the gang. The 69-count indictment contains charges of conspiracy and substantive charges of murder, attempted murder, assault, attempted assault, weapons possession, criminal use of a firearm, reckless endangerment, narcotics sales and criminally using drug paraphernalia. Police seized 21 guns during the course of the long-term investigation, which was conducted by New York City Police Department's NYPD, Brooklyn South Violence Reduction Task Force and the Office of the Special Narcotics Prosecutor's Narcotics Gang Unit, with assistance from the Kings County District Attorney's Office. Other evidence includes surveillance video, inmates' recorded phone conversations, DNA and ballistics test results, seized narcotics and drug paraphernalia, and eyewitness accounts. Early yesterday morning, NYPD officers arrested 8 defendants in the vicinity of Quad Recording Studios, located at 723 7th Avenue in Manhattan. Police seized 10 firearms during these arrests. 5 additional defendants were arrested simultaneously elsewhere in the city, while 2 defendants are in custody outside of New York State. During the operation at the recording studio, police recovered 3 guns from inside a bag in a stairwell. The bag also contained clothing branded with a logo related to GS9 rap performances and a motel receipt in Marshall's name. Marshall and another indicted defendant, Santino Boderick, also known as Kuno, were arrested in the vicinity of this same stairwell after the NYPD's Emergency Services Unit froze the location. Pollard and defendant Nicholas McCoy, also known as Montana Flea, also known as Monty, were stopped in a vehicle soon after leaving the recording studio. Police recovered 2 firearms and a small quantity of crack cocaine from the car. 1 gun was wedged between Pollard and McCoy, who were in the backseat of the car. The second gun was inside a duffel bag lying across the laps of Pollard and a female passenger seated next to him. Special Narcotics Prosecutor Bridget G. Brennan said, "The defendants are charged with narcotics dealing and an escalating pattern of violence spreading from their home community of Brooklyn to South Beach, Florida." Painstaking investigative work linked the defendants and their guns to a wave of senseless shooting. "We hope these arrests provide the community with a sense of relief." Police Commissioner William J. Bratton said, "These violent individuals will now be held accountable for their decision to participate in a gang which has brought a disturbing level of violence to the streets of Brooklyn and beyond our city's borders. The NYPD, along with our counterparts in law enforcement, remain dedicated to the residents of Brooklyn who deserve to live in a community free of gangs and gang violence," Brooklyn District Attorney Kenneth P. Thompson said. "These defendants did not hesitate to turn the streets of Brooklyn into a shooting gallery, leaving death and destruction in their wake. They wreaked havoc to protect their drug dealing, even shooting into crowds causing hundreds of innocent people to scramble to safety. Now they will be held accountable for their senseless acts of violence and illicit drug activity. I am committed to working with the New York City Police Department and the Special Narcotics Prosecutor to protect the law-abiding residents of Brooklyn." The NYPD's investigation into GS9 took place from January 2013 to October 2014, with the most serious incident in the indictment involving the alleged murder of a Brooklyn's most wanted BMW gang member on February 8, 2013. There's no telling what part Bobby Shmurda's meteoric rise to fame from the success of Hot NGGA plays in the investigation. Regardless, comparing the song's lyrics with the list of those arrested reveals that the 20-year-old MC may have implicated his own crew members. The names in the lyrics that match the nicknames of those arrested are in bold. Brackets have been placed around the nicknames that are spelled differently from the arrest list. Hot nigga lyrics. And Chewy, I'm some hot nigga like I talk to shist when I shot niggas like you seen him twirl then he drop. Nigga and we keep them 9 millis on my blog. Nigga and Monty, Keep it on him. He done drop niggas and trigger he be wilding. He some hot nigga tones known to get busy with them vlogs. Nigga try to run down and you can catch a shot. Nigga running through these checks till I pass out and shorty give me neck till I pass out. I swear to God. All I do is cash out, and if you ain't a hoe, get up out my trap house. I've been selling crack since like the 5th grade. Really never made no difference what the shit made. Jaja taught me flip them packs and how to maintain, get that money back and spend it on the same thing. Shorty like the way that I ball out. I be getting money till I fall out. You talking cash, dog? I goes all out. Shorty love the way that I floss out. Free greasy though. Let all of my dogs out. Mama said no pussy cats inside my doghouse. That's what got my daddy locked up in the dog pound. Free phantom no. Let all of my dogs out. We gon' pull up in that booty like we cops on 'em with M16s. We gon' put some shots on him. I send a little thought to send the drop on him. She gon' call me up and I'ma sick the hots on him. Grimmy savage. That's what we are, Grimmy shooters dressed in G-Star GS9. I go so hard but GS for my gun squad, and bitch if it's a problem we gon' gun brawl. Shots popping out the AR. I'm with Trigger, I'm with Rasha, I'm with A-Raw, broad daylight, and we gon' let them things bark. Tell them niggas free Mishi, ho some way, free Breezy, ho, and tell my niggas, Shmurda teaming, ho Mitch caught a body but a week ago fuck with us and then we tweaking, ho run up on that nigga, get to squeezing, ho everybody catching bullet holes. Niggas got me on my bully, yo I'm a runner, put that gun on him. I'm a runner, go dumb on him. Niggas got me on that young shit, got me on that go dumb shit. Should Bobby plead not guilty to the numerous charges, it's unlikely that these lyrics will play a part in the trial, especially considering this recent case in New Jersey. However, this writer still can't help but wonder whether or not the song itself played a part in providing investigators with some of the information they used to make the arrests. Let's imagine that one of the crew members named in Hot Nigga gets charged with committing a crime Bobby outlines in the song. Does the relationship between Bobby's lyrics to actual events then make the lyrics admissible in a court of law? Well, here are the official charges brought against the members mentioned in the song. Notice how they parallel Bobby's lyrics. The charges and allegations are merely accusations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. Trap House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit, convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude, strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game, Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes, Craig Pettis in the M-Town, Sal Magluta with the boat game, Falcone with the cocaine, like Freeway Ricky with the plug game, like Monster Cody in South Central, Larry Davis from close range.
Violent weekend in Chicago has left 11 people dead and 60 wounded in shootings across the city. Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy is addressing the issue as well as recently seized firearms at this hour. Fox 32's political editor Mike Flannery is live with more. Michael?
Well, Corey, Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy is still speaking inside the 10th District Police station here on the west side at Ogden and Christiana. He says that Chicago police had a plan over this bloody 4th of July weekend. Nonetheless, as you indicated, Corey, there was a count of casualties that could have been from Afghanistan or Iraq, but it was here in Chicago, a place some have dubbed Chirac. The most interesting aspect of this, as we have seen so many times, there were literally a small handful of shootings on the north side, 4 on the north side, and police say in Englewood alone, one neighborhood on the south side, there were 3 times as many, and the police superintendent is chalking that up to guns. He says if he is asked about the biggest difference between Chicago and New York City, where he grew up and where he was a cop for 20 years. He said it is the proliferation of guns. The police superintendent also addressed the fact that there were apparently 8 police officers who discharged their weapons or who had themselves fired upon by offenders. The police superintendent again rattling off all of the details of these incidents. In many cases, the offenders, felons, some out on parole, some out on bond, and these offenders, the police superintendent indicated, should not have been on the street. He said many of these incidents should not have happened at all because the suspects in those incidents should have been in the county jail or in state prison. Corey, back to you.
Pay up. We got jocks with them lasers.
Jakira Barnes died last month in April. She was 17 years old. She was killed in the Woodlawn neighborhood in a shooting, and she was shot multiple times. And so the police thought that she was targeted, that she was assassinated, essentially. Her mom said she was a smart kid. She was kind of shy, even timid, some people said. I talked to people at the school who said it took a while for her to warm up to her classmates and to her teachers, but she had some initial discipline problems at the beginning, and she got suspended. But after that, she was a good student, they said. So she graduated her 8th grade at Perspectives IIT Math and Science Academy. She went back there for her freshman year, and things just did not work out. She had a really spotty attendance record. And the next thing you know, according to her mother, she was arrested for shooting a gun and wound up going into the juvenile justice system, and she essentially never really was a full-time student again. Compare that reputation as a shy, timid girl with her reputation on the street, which was a shooter or a hitter or an assassin. She was known to her rivals as somebody who was willing to shoot first, ask questions later. It's all over the internet. In fact, on her own Twitter site, she called herself Taekwon Assassin. Taekwon was a friend of hers who was killed, and she vowed to avenge his death. So female shooters and gangs are super rare. However, the significance of this story is that girls are becoming more and more involved in gangs and in violence, but it's usually with their hands and feet and not with firearms. So she was very unusual in that way. The estimates of how much damage she did varied depending on who you talked to. A high-level source I talked to said that a girl matching her description was a suspect in 3 to 5 shootings. One of those was a murder. I talked to other sources who are closer to the streets, and those people say that she was thought to have committed at least 15 shootings. Either way you cut it, it was not a one-time thing with her, according to these sources. The police, last time they had contact with her, and they saw Jakira in an alley near 63rd and King Drive, which is kind of the the borderline between her gang and another rival gang. And they thought that it was really unusual for her to be there. She was really putting herself at risk. She could have gotten shot there. And so one of the officials got out of the car and talked to her and, you know, offered her help, and she politely refused and she walked away. 2 months later, she was dead.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Papa Lot Mob Ties. We headed back to the Shy with it. Woodlawn to be exact. All my niggas from the Shy Woodlawn, y'all niggas get in the comment box. Let it be known. Real fucking G's. Now, this story we about to cover is a real sad story. And this is definitely a situation where you take this is education and not glorification into example, especially anybody, all my young niggas listening to this shit for real. So we're gonna cover a female by the name of Kakara Barnes. Like I said, it's a real sad tale. I'm surprised I ain't even ever hear about this shit before. I'm fucking late as shit, but stumbled across this shit doing research for Mob Ties. And a little bit about Miss Barnes. I feel funny calling her Miss Barnes because she was only a teenager. Or not even a little bit about her. The thing that struck me the most about this story is it seems like she's on a straight and narrow path until the death of a very close friend kind of altered her path that she was on. But I'm sure it's got to be more than that. It's like almost maybe she was just growing up in the neighborhood seeing certain shit the whole time and going the other way, and then that just led her to go the way that she been seeing the whole time. It's just wow. Chicago just a different area. I ain't even gonna give up the whole story. This shit just so heart touching and shit. About to cover Cara Barnes from the Shy. Your boy Papa Lot. Mob
To the
Ties.
fictional female assassin in the TV show The Wire. But gay Cara Barnes was known as K.I. in the real life and death world of Chicago gangs. And as K.I., she became a kind of mythic figure in social media, a diminutive gap-toothed girl gunsel who was nobody's bitch. She was purported to have killed at least twice, avenging murdered friends, the first time when she was just 14. After she herself was killed on April 11th, an array of disturbing photos appeared on Instagram of her brandishing a variety of firearms, looking at once like a young girl and exactly like the shooter she was said to be. I only FWKI cause she do what you bitch niggas scared to do. A senior member of her Flyboy gang tweeted before her death. Yet Barnes does not seem to have ever been convicted of a serious crime, although she was arrested several times. She was never even named a suspect in a shooting. Her mother, Chantel Brown, allows that Barnes was not an angel but describes her as a beautiful and very loved girl who would sit with her mom as they played music on their iPhones and joked and laughed. The photo the mother wishes the world to see is of her daughter in a cap and gown, taken when she graduated from the Charter Perspective IT Math Science Academy. I just want everyone to know she's just not what they've seen on social media, Brown says. She was a young girl that had dreams of being something and getting herself and family away from this life. The mother adds, she didn't bother anyone, unless they bothered her. She always was respectable and mannerable. Barnes's father was shot to death on Easter Sunday in 1997, when she was not yet one. And to have had him taken from her before she even knew him may have helped make her at once self-reliant and hungry to bond with others. This early loss also may have contributed to her strong impulse to keep those dear to her safe from harm. She just wanted to protect everybody, her mother says. The mother pauses, then adds, with her little self. As Barnes entered her teens, she fell in with a group of young men from her immediate area in Woodlawn on the south side who called themselves variously the St. Lawrence Boys and the Flyboy Gang. They included 15-year-old Shondale Tuka Gregory, who was shot to death as he waited for a bus in January 2011. The group memorialized him by dubbing itself the Tuka Gang and the surrounding neighborhood Tukaville. Barnes took the Facebook name Tukaville Killa. 8 months later, a 20-year-old opposing gang member named O.D. Perry was shot to death. Online postings would later report that Barnes had been the hitter, though the police would never name her a suspect. Lol, so O.D. was killed by a girl SMH, one street guy later tweeted. The opposing gang memorialized the fallen O.D. by christening its home Turfo Block. The residents included the rapper and Black Disciple gang member Chief Keef Cozart, who had included O.D. in one of his music videos. Keef recorded 2 songs that derided Tuka. "Fuck a Tuka gang, I let this Ruger bang," said one. In November 2011, Carlton Tutu Archer of the Tuka gang was shot to death. Barnes posted a photo inscribed R.I.P. Carlton that showed her with her hands pressed together in prayer. The killing that had seemed to have the most profound effect on Barnes was apparently unrelated to the ongoing rivalry between Tukaville and her block. The victim was 13-year-old Tyken Tyler, whose mother had moved him from Chicago to Western Illinois to get him away from the city's violence. He returned for a visit in June 2012 and was killed by a stray bullet when 2 grown gang members fired into a crowd of youngsters who were leaving a party. Tyler's mother had just been coming to pick him up. "I held him in my arms on the sidewalk and talked to him while he was fighting for his life," she told the Chicago Tribune. "He was my baby, so loving and respectful."